wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
What's going on, traders? How we doing? Welcome back to another bright day here, and some sad news out there, of course, with the Boeing news. We'll talk a little bit about that. Of course, OKLO coming down on a public offering, $400 million. We can talk a little bit more about that. Looking around, there's Hycroft also mining holding shares also down after announcing a 40 million public offering, and we're seeing public offerings all around. Also big convertible note in GME as they look to raise more Bitcoin, and they're taking a big hit down. Boeing is the disaster stock of the day. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but let's get to the economics right now, as we did get PPI and other numbers that come in here, and also unemployment data. And it was not looking good, guys. The initial jobless claims at 248,000 versus 242,000. And we're starting to see that trend, and it's starting to become a trend. And watch, you'll start hearing more mentions of it today about how the jobless claims is really going in the wrong direction. And we're really starting to see some job weakness. So I think that's one thing to keep an eye out for. In the PPI, you got a 2.6 versus a 2.6. So that was right on the hammer. That didn't do anything, but you guys can see this morning, we actually broke the trend line. That's where I'm starting to get concerned. So now the V bottom is starting to break. So now I got to really watch today, because today could be the day that the rotation comes against me. And yes, I really do feel that way. And I'm a little concerned because I still have a swing trade on that I'm up 7% on. And I'm thinking about just taking the money and run, because it just doesn't seem like we're going to get that lift that I'm really looking for in Grail, which is above the 45s. It hung out there yesterday. It even got there to 44.94 this morning. It was up there in the kind of the 5:45 a.m. time, almost got there to 45. Now pulling back a little bit. It's still holding the 15-minute support. So that's one thing I'm watching for. But like always, we got to keep an eye out to see what happens. Month over month came in a little bit lower than the expected amount, but we can talk a little bit more about that as we get there. Let's go to the Boeing news, as it's actually a part of my playbook. I'm actually looking for a move above 200 to get short. I could have shorted this recent move of 200. It did go down to 196. I was looking for a move back down to 195. Of course, what is the news here? It's kind of really sad. It's a tragic day, of course. It's another Boeing aircraft crash makes headlines. This time it's with over 250 passengers on board. And of course, beyond the human toll, the market could start to react more severely to Boeing's ongoing issues. Of course, public and regulatory sentiment may shift further against the company, leading to potential long-term pressure on the stock. Boeing is already down about 8% on the news, so chasing the move here might not be the ideal move. Instead, I'll be watching for a big bounce, probably even above the 200 now. If we look at it, I like to look at a lot of times the hourly and look to see where we could bounce to. Even 205 kind of makes sense here now. So that's the one thing. I was looking at this resistance earlier, but we keep kind of rejecting it and coming right back down. We'll see if we make our way back towards the 205 resistance. That'd be the next step up here, back up here. We'll see what happens if it does get up there towards the open. I'll be looking for a move right back down. Boeing getting a little bounce here and back towards the 278 there. We'll see if Boeing can keep on bouncing. Tesla is also another one that I'm looking at. If the market turns around to the downside, we'll see what happens. It needs to break this 318 for the real leak to happen. You can see right now it's kind of on this little bull flag action on the hourly. So I'd watch to see when that bull flag break. Does it break to the upside or the downside? This is definitely in play today. We'll see what happens there in Tesla. That is as flaggy as it gets there, guys. So we'll have to wait and look to see what happens there. But Tesla setting up there on both sides, right? It either break through the 318 or back above the 325s. I'm hoping it's the 325s since I have swing trades, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind to get short on this name. All right, we'll take a look around out there to see what happens. Let's keep pushing, guys. and see what we can find out there. Right now, that's going to be it for the playbook. We'll go to the sunrise report. We'll take a look at what's moving out there and what's on the tape. Of course, we'll keep eyes to see what happens. Next week, we got that random day in the middle with Juneteenth. But did you sign up for our competition, guys? I definitely want to make sure that you guys are signed up in our competition. So get out there, guys. We're going to be getting towards that conversation coming up next. Let's get to our sunrise report this morning and see what we can find. All right, traders, stocks were slipping early on and now getting a little bit of the bounce in the SPY. That makes me feel a little better about my swing, right? We'll see what happens there. But why were we going down? Well, early Thursday, of course, President Trump threatened unilateral tariffs in 2 weeks. So pretty much he's starting to get to the point where he's like, either you just go ahead and make the deal now, or we're just going to go ahead and lift the tariffs right back on. But there was back and forth talk because Besant said, though, that countries could get a nice pushback on the deadline. This is where we've been talking about it. I've been saying it too, that I think it's going to go towards more 180-day pause versus a 90-day. So markets are closely watching the U.S. and China trade developments. Trump may extend that July 8th deadline for talks if countries negotiate in good faith. That's what at least Basson said. If someone is not negotiating, then we will not. Right. Well, there it is, guys. We'll see what happens with that. And of course, we can talk a little bit more about the Boeing strategy as it's an Air India strategy. Boeing dropped over 7% in the pre-market. I saw it over 8% this morning, of course. And it's on Air India. The Dreamliner crashed post takeoff with 242 people on board. Officials confirmed the crash of the flight AI 171 to London. So it looks like it just got off the ground, and it wasn't even, I think, 15 minutes into the flight when it came down in a Mayday call. All right, we'll see what happens there. Let's keep looking around as you are seeing the bounce there. We'll see if we can get short later Boeing. Salesforce, though, definitely making a nice little push. Oh, it's Oracle. My bad. I don't know why I wanted to look at Salesforce. That's why I was looking at it a little weird. So Oracle, of course, getting the big lift on their earnings report. And I think you continue to watch this as being the best of breed in software. And this has to do with also what I'm starting to see that's coming out, guys, which is the mention of AI agents. So really keep your eyes on this, guys. I think we're going to see more and more software names get the jump. Oracle, of course, beat the Q4 expectations. EPS here at $1.70 versus the $1.64 estimate. Revenues at $15.9 billion versus the $15.59 billion estimate. CEO Safra Katz projects cloud infrastructure to grow 70%. Yes, you heard that, right? Well, there you guys have it. That's in the fiscal year 26. And so cloud being a big lift there for Oracle. Revenue target for fiscal year 29 to exceed $104 billion. New moves, AI healthcare platform with Cleveland Clinic and G42. Expanded cloud use by Temu. Partnered with IBM, SoftBank to acquire chip startup for $6.5 billion. And Oracle remaining a key partner in OpenAI's Stargate AI infra project. So keep your eyes on that. Larry Edison saying the demand is insatiable, and we've never seen anything like it. That is a new one. Pretty much this is as big as a push as you can do for the company. Now, of course, I wouldn't want to trade Oracle today. It could just continue to lift, but I'd take a look to see how the other software names react, right? We'll talk a little bit more about this when Michael gets on, but I think it's something to look at. Software names have been hot. There's other names that I'd be watching too here, like ServiceNow has been one of the ones that has been kind of getting that lift, and we'll see if it can get the push now, right? Pun intended. We'll see if it could catch right back above the 9 EMA and some other software names start to make the move. I think you got to continue to watch to see what happens here. There's a lot of names to keep an eye out for. Intuit has been on a big move, right? I think this has to do with also the AI factors weighing in. Intuit just going just bananas, guys. And now I got to look to see what are the other names that could go bananas. Well, Shop made a big move yesterday out of a base. out of that 110 base. And I always will look back at Shopify and be a little upset I don't have this in the investment account, because this should be bought at 45, not down here. And I remember we just recently had a move where this did come down in 2024. This was down to $70. It's right back there towards almost 120 and continuing. So I'll look for a name like Shop to get a nice little push. AppLovin, of course, could get a nice little push right back up. We'll see what happens on names like this, MSTR. Just keeping an eye on some software names. Of course, we know how these have done, the cybersecurity names. So keep an eye out on those. Workday, maybe a gap fill all the way back there. That wouldn't be a bad approach. Let's go to NVIDIA here, as we got some comments from NVIDIA as the decade of autonomous everything, guys, is being announced by NVIDIA's CEO. So we got to keep an eye out on conversation like this. But he talked about autonomous vehicles, robotics, self-operating machines is the way to move forward. The decade coming soon, guys. The U.S. Leading in autonomous rollout with Waymo's robotaxis in major cities. The U.K. just passed the Autonomous Vehicles Act. Driverless cars could be hitting the road by 2026. Uber is teaming up with Wavy for AV trials in UK, autonomous drives in the UK starting in spring of 2026. This is why I like Uber. This is why I'm continuing to watch more about the autonomous vehicles. What was I focusing on for the beginning of the year? It was two major trends. It was nuclear and it was autonomous vehicles. Now I'm starting to shift a little bit. And we included quantum in those names, right? It was pretty much those three areas. And I think we continue to watch that. I would add software as just an overall space. And it actually runs into the other areas. But those four areas you don't want to miss. All right, guys, we'll continue watching to see what else is moving in the markets, but definitely great conversation coming from that. Of course, we can take a look at what's going on. The S&P ended a 3-day win streak, of course, with yesterday's close going towards the red. Now hanging on. We'll see if the market can hang on, of course, and recover the V-shaped recovery. If it doesn't, this could be where we start to let go. So big day. I'll be watching it because I'm going to be watching Grail, of course. I had a really good day yesterday. Really nice bounce back. Continued the day trade. Was gas pedal all day long. Talked about it here on the show. And then NNE was able to trade it twice. Was able to make this first breakout trade. And then eventually I bought it here towards the close. And I was able to sell the rip right back up. So we'll see what happens on this name, NNE. Not a bad day for me yesterday. Would have wish I had it on the swing, but I think something tells me we're going to get a move where it can go back to 32s today. And if it comes back to 32s, it just gives me another opportunity to take a shot. We'll see what happens in these names. Of course, AKLO had that offering. That's why it's pulling back this morning. It's down there to 64s. I'd actually look for this to fall a little bit further. We'll see what happens on OKLO and that raising of money. GME continuing to fall now down to 2350s after, of course, the announcement of the convertible offering. And look at the downside go. It's looking like it wants to break the 22s. It finally broke the long-term pattern. This is not a good look for GME, and this could actually be potentially long-term damage here for GME. But hey, we all know how GME is. I don't think it should exist in the first place, but that's just how it goes, guys. We'll see what happens here if GME does break down through the 20 and starts working back, maybe $10, maybe single digits in the future for GME. All right, we'll keep taking a look to see what other stocks are moving out there. I'm trying to catch some stuff on the scanners. Let's go to the scanners here. Let's see what we got. It's 8:52. We'll be joined by Michael in a little bit here, guys. Let's take a look here at what's showing up in my scanners here for the day. All right. Let's see. QUBT. Oh, yeah. QUBT's been hot. Now, today's the day that this could pull back. I feel like it's had, 2 or 3, 4 days really on a breakout. It's had about 68% on a breakout. It can't get back to yesterday's high. That's a big sign of concern. Watch out on QUBTS or QUBT We'll see if it does break back down below this 1950s. I'll be watching for it, guys, because it's been in this kind of pennant pattern, and it could fail and go right back down. We'll see. It could also break the 2050 and just keep on chugging on, but definitely one to watch here. MOS. Did this trend finally break? Well, you can see it, guys. It was holding the 9 EMA, 9 EMA, 9 EMA, 9 EMA, and now finally starting to break down. So this one's not looking as good at all. I would leave that one alone. AMAT's been hot, hot, hot. We'll look to see if this pulls back a little bit. Nothing that I want to play up here. It's just a little too far extended. Sorry for the yawn, guys. It's just a little too far extended. We'll look to see if it gets back above the trend line. That's what I'd be waiting for, trend line break, and then to see if it can start to work back. But nothing that I want to even worry about right now. Actually, erased all. Just put a line here. Wait for this line to break and actually hold. You can see how you broke it. Come back to this 160, and it'll look a lot better. We'll look to see if it makes a move to 190, but you're trying to keep holding above that. We'll see what happens there in AMAT. Micron, of course, one of the stocks that have been strong as of late. AVGO just recently broke the highs. We'll look to see if that one pulls back here and gives an opportunity. We can take a look to see what other ones are showing up in my scanners here for like 5-day price trend. UMAC has been one of those stocks that has been hot, but we'll see what happens. Yesterday did already make the pullback, so maybe this gets going today. I don't mind it, especially back above, like, let's say 835s. I'd keep an eye out on these, and RCAT to be named also. Remember yesterday I was trying to, not yesterday, on Tuesday, I was trying to make a play on this thing for a pullback to 850. It happened. It happened yesterday. Now I'll look for a reclaim. Can he go right back up? Break this 883 and break 9 today. And yeah, you could keep going with momentum. All right, guys, we'll see what happens. Q's getting hot here, guys. I don't know if there's some news out there, but we're getting a bounce back here. And that's what I want to see. So bounce back really quickly, getting bought back. All dips bought back, right? I think this could be also Boeing coming back there. Yeah, you can see it. It's almost back to 205. So if it gets back to that 205, I'm willing to short this thing. Let's see what happens here in Boeing. I'll take a shot, especially on the swing trade. If it's in the pre-market, if it's in the intraday, I'll take a shot on the day trade side. We'll keep an eye out here as it keeps going, looking for it to break 205. I'm going to set an alert at 204.88. Come get me, because I'm ready to short you, Boeing, especially as how I feel about you, man. It's a tough one. Yeah, it's hard for me to go long on Boeing today, especially with a crisis like that. But there's a lot of people that's going to try it and try to make money. I just feel like it's a little bit too far away from me. Nothing that I want to go after right now. All right, looking around out there, guys, trying to catch some kind of comments out there. All right, if you guys have anything in the chat out there, let me know what you guys are watching out there. What's up? What's up, Vic? Trump gave up on China. Yeah, Trump gave up on a lot of things. So we won't get into all that conversation. But yeah, Trump has been kind of turning around a little bit there. And I think that's something definitely to look at. All right, let me go and see if there's anything else in the streets being talked about right now. Trump traders are resuming fully pricing in 2 Fed cuts this year. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. It's nothing that I think is important for the time being. All right, let's take a look to see if there's anything else being talked about out there. Nothing that I missed. Yeah. Nothing that I'm seeing out there that's surprising the market right now on why we're lifting. It just looks like we're in this nice little bounce back. And if we're in this bounce back, well, it might be time to kind of just continue riding the dip, right? Riding the dip. But we'll see what happens. Time to short Boeing. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for it. I think it's still setting up here, still coming right back. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go to the man that is in the best spot in the house, guys. We got a new guy. Who is this guy over here? Let's see. Oh, look at the setup. Ooh. Swag. I like it. I like it out there, man. How you doing?
I'm doing what I can. I'm out here with no power, so I'm like, well, if I'm on the laptop anyway, why not get out in nature a little bit? Yeah, some work coming to the house, so I'll be out here for maybe today and tomorrow. We'll see.
Can't go wrong, man. Looks good out there, man. Looks like you're having a good time, man. I'm sure the temperatures are a lot better than it is here in Florida.
Yes.
So, what you got, like 70s over there?
Uh, uh, I don't know what your crazy math is. It's 24 Celsius in the
Okay.
things that matter.
Okay. So,
Um,
that's like
but
70s. That's like 70s, low 70s. All right. Not doing too bad there.
okay.
Let's get.
There's a good lesson here too. I was thinking for traders, right? The
Mhm.
fact that I can have absolutely no power in my house, like they're disconnecting the power from my house, and it doesn't stop me working or trading or doing anything, I think is super important. So if you don't have a laptop, there's the trading app for your iPhone, there's a trading app for your iPad, right? At Trade the Pool, we got that Trader Evolution app going on there across all those. Make sure you have access to something like this. Was a planned thing, but what if it wasn't planned? And what if it wasn't planned and I was in a bunch of trades, right? Make sure you've got that access, right? That you can get into at any time.
Yeah, I think that's very important, and especially for you traders that trade with more money and kind of keep pushing the levels. Har, 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 har. The dogs are out. The dogs are out, baby. They're barking out there. They're barking out there. They're going for it. Go get, go get that fox. Go get that fox. I'll put you in the background, Michael, as we kind of keep going, guys. Let's go bring back the charts here. And I'll bring Michael back on in just a second here, guys. Where's Michael trading from? His backyard, man. The guy's just taking a little backyard day. So he'll be back with me in a second here as the dogs are barking out there, just like the dogs
Yeah.
are barking, trying to get Bowen out there. We'll see what happens out there.
I'm
Definitely.
already long Boeing, so
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
one jinx it.
Oh man, I don't know how you do it. I know there's a lot of people that make money on these events, but I just feel I can't do it, man. It's just it's a sad news day on that.
It's just systems, right? So
Yeah,
I didn't even know the news, right? That's the beauty of
yeah,
until I looked and saw that Boeing was in my account. It's one of the beauties of being a systems trader is it
yeah.
broke VWAP, it's moving to the next VWAP. That's a trade that I got to take.
All right. Where are you taking it to? Any target profit in mind here?
2-day VWAP's 207.50. So
Okay.
207.50 is the target there. That gets you not even close. That's still a pretty sizable gap down, right? We closed at 214. So, right, the VWAP to VWAP move would take us to 207. So that's still reflecting the news is bad. It's just saying that it was a little bit overdone to begin with. So,
Yeah, I'm getting a comment in chat here asking, where are you trading from, Michael? Good old Canada, man. Come
mhm,
on. Come on.
yeah, but
The
up,
real maple out there.
up in Canada, and it's good that I could do this. If we were doing this work in couple months ago or a couple months ahead, I'd be stuck inside the house with nothing to do. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I can at least do and show up. So hopefully
Yeah.
it comes back on. How long it takes for what they're doing, but I'm not complaining being out here for sure.
Not complaining at all, man. We'll see how things go. Let's keep it moving out there. Let's see what else is kind of shaking here this morning. Of course, we did get PPI to come in here. We got jobless claims still showing a little bit of an increase there. My big concern is that we're starting to break the V shape on at least trend line approach for the SPY. That's where I'm starting to get a little bit weary, at least today. We'll just definitely be on alert today to see what happens. But hey, it's just a 90 MA pullback opportunity. Will they buy up the 600s again? At least that's what we're seeing this morning. We'll see if they can keep doing it, right? Big push here to 600. Let's see if they can just keep buying it back there. Still in my grail position, going to look to see if we can catch some of these dips because there's a lot of names that are down this morning, at least in the pre-market. We'll see how those continue, right? Like Hims pulling back. That's definitely a pullback that I was trying to play yesterday. Still a really nice setup here in Hims to keep watching for. We'll look to see if we get another run there in Hims and looking around, man. Looking around, right? Uh, Anything you're
Yeah,
seeing out there?
I'm looking. I'm looking at this as sadly just coming back
Mhm.
into the range. The
Yeah.
question is
There you
more, is it a right? Are we just pulling back to this breakout area? At this again, I don't know how many times I've said 595.5 over and over
go.
again.
Mhm.
If that's where we're coming back to and we find some buyers there, then I think that's overall bullish.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is just games at all-time high, right? It's they when an area is that obvious, they never make it super easy for us, right? So I wouldn't be
Sure.
surprised if we, looks like we're going to get to all-time highs and pull back and over again. Same thing that's kind of been happening with Bitcoin, right? We made that quick run and we thought we were going to get to all-time highs really quickly, and now they're pulling it back. Is that just to shake out weak hands and then they
Yeah.
rip it higher? I don't know, but it's just one of those. Again, the more obvious the level, the more I think that everyone in the world watches it, and then the less fun it will be just to trade it. So expect
Yeah.
chop until otherwise. It could be the China deal. Maybe we're waiting for that as well.
Yeah, we're all waiting to hear that noise that's going to come out of that, because I don't think it's going to be a complete deal. It might just be just for a specific area of the deal, and I think that's what they've been hinting towards. That tells me that we're not going to get a lot out of that, but who knows? That might still push the markets higher. Definitely don't have a real deal, because it would have already been announced. I think it's
Yeah, it's
just a
like the
deal.
the framework. It's a deal to make a deal. Like, is that what they're
Exactly.
saying?
The same thing that happened last time. Remember, they said they had a deal and it was just that there was a pause.
Hmm.
So yeah, no deals. No deal is what I expect out of that. But something to watch, right? Got a hint from Basson to just he said what? That they could push it back, right? Well, then Trump comes out this morning and is like, oh no, but we can also just leave the tariffs on if they don't agree in 2 weeks. And so more uncertainty. I think that's why we went down a little today. That uncertainty of, well, Baston said this, you saying this, back to the uncertainty there, right? So I think that's one
Well,
thing to keep an eye out for.
a big thing to keep an eye on here too is the dollar, right? So
Dollar dropping
DXY,
fast.
yeah, dropping real fast. First time under 98 since 2021. So the lowest dollar in a while, breaking out of this pretty sustained base here.
Yeah, no, it is, and bonds overall are starting to bounce, right? I mean, look at the TLT this morning; it's ripping higher, man. I think that's one thing to keep an eye out for. Of
Well,
course,
I read somewhere that they're now pricing in two rate cuts again. So I think that might be part of if they're going to cut rates, that's going to be overall good for that. But yeah, I was looking at it right here. This is TNX, so this is the
it's
10-year
pushing.
yield,
Yeah.
right? Gap down, yeah. So this is amazing for bonds, and we know that was the thing that made Trump flinch was the bonds. So if we're going to get
Hmm.
a bit of a drop and then a sell here in TNX, then that I think is going to give them a little bit more kind of strength to say, okay, well, I'm really going to push this for this deal because the bond market's not reacting with, the that's what everything broke before. We always talked about if bonds got to this level, that's where this is the Trump backout level,
Yeah.
and we're pushing off that. And nice, yeah, big rip in bonds. Is it TMX? There's one way to play. There's a triple leveraged
Yeah, I think it's
TLT.
TMX. Uh, which one was it? I think, yeah, you TMX, was it? No. I remember you brought
TMC,
it up here.
full leverage bonds. Let me go look. There is a triple leverage TLT. So if anyone wants to day trade bonds, they don't move much, but the triple leverage version, triple leveraged TLT, TMF. That's it. TMF. F as in Frank. Yeah, so it's only $38. It's already up $1.50 today, so it's got some
Yeah.
good movement. So if you want to trade, look at that 5 minute
It's been
chart.
ripping, man. That's what caught my attention. I was wondering for a second there. I was like, there, the Q's move seemed a little bit more news related, right? And so
Hmm.
sometimes you have to really look. And to me, I think it's this, because this was what was concerning out there, that, hey, yeah, we're getting this market that's ripping and rallying, but the bonds aren't going with it. And we were looking for that correlation to come back into play, especially when we were starting to come back, right? And just let's say, um, even in September, we were starting to come back. We were starting to like look like we were getting back there, and then all of a sudden the wash came back down, and we were sitting on the lows. We even undercut the lows on the weekly, and then quickly scooped back. That's moments where you can see swings back. So if there's a way to get to all-time highs, I think it's this continuing decline for a little while that could give us that potential backstop, some tailwinds to keep pushing forward in the markets.
Yeah, it just shows a faith in lower rates. It could also be the
Exactly.
reason we're seeing IWM actually perform, the small caps perform so
Perfect.
well,
Perfect
right?
correlation there, Michael. I mean, that makes
Yeah.
complete sense, right? I mean, we were wondering, well, IWM is getting started here, right? And why is it getting started? Well, rate outlook could easily be the reason why. We all said that there's a reason why the IWM can't move, because it's too many of these smaller names that need to keep raising money in high interest rates environments. Well, if
Mhm.
that starts to change, IWM can change also.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start looking at this TMF a little bit more, right? Because TLT you're not gonna have a whole lot of fun with, but for an intraday or a swing, but TMF you could, and this daily chart looks interesting here. If we stick the landing, this was a big area of resistance going on here. If we think rates are going to continue to fall, and we think that bonds are going to continue to rise, you get some juice, right? If you end up just even getting back up to this prior high, that's a 30% gain in a bond fund. That's I'll take that all day long, right? It's not as sexy as making 100% in some sort of biotech, but if you can make that in bonds, that's really interesting. And the other one was, there was another one I saw here too, TMV, and I think that's the short side of things. So if you want to play long only, yeah, that's the triple leverage short. Less liquid than the triple leverage long. This one looks a little bit more liquid. So we're talking bonds, and bonds generally aren't very fun, but we have liquidity and we have leverage. So why not?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking around out there, trying to look at trades out there, and I'm looking at a lot of the IWM to see if there's anything that's really standing out to me. UNH put a good candle in yesterday. I feel like it might be time to start taking a swing here. I think you're getting more constructive off the 300 here. And of course, for me, remember when it was a falling knife, I didn't want anything to do with this UNH, because it's just, I can't take the falling knife. I need some type of sideways action. I think it's given me enough here. So the big thing for me is it needs to lift off through 320s. And once it lifts to 330s, everyone's going to wish they had 300. So I think at this point, I got to determine, how do I get in this? It's probably a pullback below 310s where I could risk on 300. But I don't think this is a bad look. It could go and then try to fill that gap. If it tries to fill that gap, we're talking, 70, 66 points higher, right? So I don't know. This is starting to look a little bit better. And I think that I saw analyst notes starting to downgrade it yesterday. So of course that's the day that it starts to get a little bit better, right? So we'll see what happens. What do you think on UNH now?
Well, again, one of my favorite trades is, right, if the analysts hate it, I love it. So
Especially once they start to actually come and downgrade it, right? Or
yeah,
change their price targets. So
no,
UNH definitely.
no, I think this looks great. I think your trade is good. Now I'm biased because I own some UNH from around 250, so I don't want to
Yeah.
talk my book too much, but at least now you really know where you're wrong, right? You're
Yeah.
trying to get, you've got a very clear area here, around 300. If it probably you get a close under 300, probably time to move on and try again later. And I like that, right? The question is,
Mhm.
what do we think the probability is more bad news dropping? It's already got cut in half, even more than cut in half. So, that makes me think that we might be out of the woods with a lot of the news. And then if you get a little bit of a gap fill, you're talking 375 is that last gap. That's so you're risking 10 points to make 60. Like that's a great risk reward play.
Yeah, I think one thing I see here is, of course, they also raised their dividend 14 hours ago. So pretty much yesterday, raising their dividend from 210 to 221 a share, which is essentially about 2.9 a year on the yield. It's really not a bad dividend player overall. I mean, better than the S&P 500. The stock is down big, starting to work its way back. I think it's one of those names that it was talked about so much, right? Then out of nowhere, you're not seeing it talked about so much. This is usually when I think the move happens. Once that hype slows down and people just literally forget it because there's the next flavor of ice cream. We always talk about the flavor of the day, right? Like what are people focusing on today? Well, people will be focusing on Boeing. They'll be focusing on, right, maybe even like an Nvidia or a GME that's down big, right? But a lot of times it's just something else that's making the bigger move, the little sneaky move that you're not maybe catching. So keep your eyes out there, guys. It'll be definitely something to watch for.
Yeah, I agree. Right, uh, as soon as it stops being in the news, that gives more serious players a little bit more confidence to say,
Mhm.
okay, maybe all the bad news is behind us. Because companies will quite often they'll try to front run bad news. If you've got one
Yeah.
bad event happening, you might as well just throw them all out there. You
Mhm.
see this quite often with if a company has bad earnings, they'll also guide down. They'll do some accounting trickery where they're like writing off like any bad expenses or anything they have. Just like let's get one bad quarter, let's get it all out, and let's just take the giant hit, and then we can start to rebuild, as opposed to trickling out bad news over time, which ends up being worse for the stock and worse for the name. So, yeah, that's again, I like it. I don't know how biased I am here talking my book, but I certainly do like it here. And yeah, speaking of Boeing, right, we got to talk a little bit about that recovering
I
quite
want to
nicely.
short it.
Well, again, go
I'm
ahead.
feeling it.
I'm a
I'm
little bit
feeling it.
warm.
I'm feeling it. But waiting. I'm looking for a pop above 205.
Well, and again, you're more tuned into the news than I am. Was this their fault? Do they know? Was this their fault this time, or was this
This is the
someone
key.
else's fault?
This is the key. It's the Dreamliner. That's the key. The key is
Mm,
what plane it is. I think that's the key here. All right. So there's big concern for that plane now.
mhm.
And that plane is heavily used right now, and it's kind of relatively new, right? And I've already had issues. This is the biggest thing. Boeing keeps getting the slap on the wrist, right? We've
Yeah.
already seen them get the slap on the wrist how many times, right?
Oh,
Eventually, somebody has to come calling, right? And we know how Trump sometimes just goes on this vendetta. He said in
mhm.
the past that he doesn't like Boeing. He's clearly said it. He can use this kind of catalyst to come after them, right?
But,
So
well, I don't know if we know yet, but what caused the crash? Was it
it,
Boeing? Because I think it's one of those that if it comes out that it wasn't Boeing at all.
so the key is the plane got up only like about 15 minutes and immediate
Okay.
mayday call.
Yeah.
So something wrong with the plane had to be the issue. If it's not pilot issue, it's not like the pilots ran into something. You can see the plane just heading down in a fashion of just going down and no ability to come back up. No ability to come
Mhm.
back up. It was just on the trajectory straight down, and it was a pretty bad landing. Like it also landed into a hostel, supposedly that houses doctors. So it's more negative news, right? And I think it's just one
Ooh,
of those things where it's just really tough. And I think that Boeing has had so many times where they get away with situations where it was literally safety issues. Like the other one where I forgot what it was. It was in Malaysia or something like that,
yes.
where
Yeah.
it was also the same situation. Plane took off, and immediately the actual plane, the dynamics of the way the plane works, the way that it tries to keep altitude, literally were twisted, and it was the software itself was pulling the plane down.
Yes, I remember that. That was the Maxes, right? Yeah.
Yes. And so this is the concern. Is there another issue here with the plane like this, where the pilots were trying to make it go up and the plane itself was telling it to come down, right? And so, hey, this is just one thing that I'd be looking at. And we'll see. It could be that it was pilot issues. I can tell you right now, at least the way that at least from my knowledge and talking to pilots that I've talked to, these planes can fly themselves. Pilots barely do anything. They only take charge a lot of the time when things go wrong. They try to make things go more manually when things are going wrong, right? So I think the pilots would try to adjust things and try to get it to come back up. Definitely doesn't seem like pilot kind of error, and at least what we're seeing right now. Of course, we'll have to wait for the black box to kind of get discovered and all that situation. But for right now, we see the price action, right? So for me, I think the other thing is there isn't that big of a confirmed death rate right now. There was, I think, 240 something passengers. Right now, only 30 confirmed. And I think that as that number goes higher, that could spike also the stock down. So I don't know which way to play this today. I'm going to say that I'm just leaning on that short side. Some people are going to long this trade because it will get an overreaction at some point. We'll see what happens here. Another thing to look at is the XLI, because the XLI was on the point of breakout. And of course, Boeing being one of the heavy weightings in that, how will the XLI trade today? That could also be a sign, right?
Yeah, and well, so I think it's one of those that there's kind of there's a binary event incoming, right? And because we don't exactly know what caused the accident, that would be something to look at. Because you're right, if the market's selling off the price, they right now believe that it is Boeing. So if it's confirmed, like if they find the black box and they say, yep, it's definitely Boeing's fault, I think that, right, you get that drop lower. And then if they get some sort of reprieve and say, hey, it wasn't us this time, you're going to get a massive rally back up. So this is one of those rare times that I think it probably makes sense that if you are going to trade this stock, or like you mentioned, the XLI, that you focus on the news and try to keep an eye on what happens when it comes out, because that'll be a very quick reaction. I guarantee you there's funds out there that are saying, right, let's tune up a bot and say Boeing at fault, short Boeing not at fault, or any combination of those words by the stock. So there could be a big reaction to this one here today.
And Joey, I'm not. It's not about battling you, my friend. I'm here. We could talk. That's why it's about conversations here. That's what it's all about, man. So stating that takeoff can't be autopilot. Clearly, what I did is I just did the AI search on it. Clearly, can be autopilot on takeoff. Does still need some kind of manual kind of adjusting, probably setting in like where it's going, right? Things like that. But it can be auto takeoff. So who knows what happened in that situation? We'll find out. All eyes will be definitely watching the tape to see as we get more information. And that's another thing that I think you look for. Is there more mentions that it's Boeing's fault? That's what you need to be looking for on the trade, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, that's what happened with the Maxes, right? Is initially they thought it was actually pilot error, because it was in a period of time they could see that the pilots were taking control of the plane. But like Mitch was saying, what was actually happening is the pilot was trying to pull the plane up, but then the plane was actually overriding the pilot.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine how that would feel. Couldn't imagine how that would feel as a pilot, man. You're trying everything in your life to try to save this thing, and it's literally pulling you to the ground. And then this is my biggest thing. They just got a slap on the wrist for that, right?
Yeah.
Like no one went to jail. No one got in trouble. They got this really small fine. It's not even a big fine. And that's where I'm like at the point, when is enough here? And they actually get either a big fine or somebody, and it sounds bad, but someone could end up in jail because of this, right? We'll see what happens, right?
There's been talks about some privatization too, right? And it's one of those things. For the audience, I know Mitch is already thinking about this. What happens is, for these companies, and ends up hurting these companies, is it doesn't necessarily have to be a, hey, we're shutting you down, or even a dollar fine.
Yeah.
What could happen is they could just say more regulation, right? We are going to start, there's going to be government employees walking through your factories. You're going to have to do additional reporting. You're going to have to do additional screening, additional checking, and all these things kind of start to stack up, and then eventually start to hurt the bottom line. Well, because now, they should probably do it anyway, but now they have to do more inspections. They have to pay, more safety inspectors. They have to do more checks, and that slows down production and increases costs, which, again, sounds like, based off what's happening, they should have to do that anyway, but they're not.
We keep getting like also like big current events from them every year, and it's a negative one. And when it becomes consistent is when it becomes an issue, right? If it's just like one out of the last 5 years, okay. But then when it becomes like every year you're hearing something bad about a Boeing plane, that's when it becomes an issue. This is the biggest concern to me, right? When's the last, you don't hear the same negativity about the Airbuses, right? And that's where I'm like, okay, at some point, does the support go to Airbus and then just be like, well, Boeing, goodbye?
Well, and it's brand risk, right? It's like, remember, I'm sure you remember when those Samsung phones were exploding and you couldn't even take them on planes.
Yeah, when it exactly. Well, it still happens sometimes. My phone feels like it's going to explode, but
my phone is doing a camera and the hotspot right now, so let's see if that blows up. But
we'll see.
It ends up being a massive brand risk, where that happened once to Samsung and it took them years to recover. This is happening all of the time for Boeing. Well, eventually it just ends up hurting the brand risk. Contracts naturally drift to other companies. Again, more regulatory oversight. All of that ends up being a problem too.
Well, all right, guys. So I wanted to take a look at an area that I want to watch today, and I think it's something to watch for a continued broadening out of the rally, and that's looking towards to see what happens with consumer cyclical here. Of course, cyclicals are a good area to look for to kind of judge the consumer, right? This was the area that was a lot of concern out there just a couple months ago, right? So I'm looking to see if some strength actually comes into here, right? Do we start to see some lift off into some of these areas, right? We're talking restaurants, we're talking auto parts, right? Those have been hot. But you can take a look, auto truck dealerships have even been kind of rising. Gambling is starting to get a little bit of a lift. Some specialty retail has already done pretty well. So now I'm looking, do we start to see this kind of even move out to maybe like an apparel, right? Apparel has been kind of hit hard. There's certain stocks, like let's say an A&F, that's been going sideways for a long time here after a big lift and a raise of guidance. So I'm looking to see if this can spread out. Like, can we get a broadening out into different areas? So I'll be watching to see what happens with this, of course, but there's some other names here that are interesting. Look at the run in some of these, right? I'm going to run through some of them, but you got like Wingstop, huge run lately. Wingstop, RSI is a gambling company starting to go back up. This Sportsman Warehouse Holdings is just kind of gone skyrocketing. I have no idea, but that's a huge trend. That's 13 days straight up, right? We'll see what happens here. VSME, running through some of these, but it just goes to show me that it's not what you think, right? I mean, Signet Jeweler has been kind of getting a nice little lift there. Wayfair, nice bottoming all the way back there to almost 50. Dave and Buster's making a big move. If we're in a recession, I don't think we're seeing Dave and Buster's make a big breakout. So that's just something to think about, right? So look for that broadening out of the rally, right? Because this is one way of getting it to continue, right? It doesn't only have to be technology. Technology is how we've had this recent push, but I think we could look for the financials and consumer cyclical to see if that's the next step up, right? So JPM, Bank of America, those types of names, look to see if they can break their highs, right? And start to rally there. you could still get a tech pullback and still see these lift higher.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, right? That rotation is what we need to see. I did actually just get a trade entered. So it's like 2 minutes before the bell, so it's a little bit risky. But I bought GameStop of all
There you
things.
go.
So, yeah, we ended up.
Nice
just
liquidity candle just recently at towards 23.25. So I like the look, especially if it can hold like 23.50. What are you looking here on risk and target?
it's the there's no way I'll have the guts to hold to that target, but right, it's just the same VWAP break.
Hey, it's a good reward, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, pre-market low for the stop, and then the target is $27 as a 2-day VWAP. But as the market opens, this VWAP will probably push lower. But now it's sitting at like a 5-hour trade, so it's one of those. If your system puts out a 5-hour trade, you just like absolutely have to take it. You're forced to by law.
All right, guys. Joey asking, he said, I know that you're using a MacBook. Do you do trading or do you use Windows or do you do parallels? I think you do parallel,
Yes.
right? You use Windows on a Mac.
Yeah, well, so my setup's a bit complicated. I have a desktop PC I have like a server room in my house. And I use this and I connect to that. So everything I do kind of personally, like charting and all of that, I do via the MacBook. And then I've got the PC kind of hardwired into the wall and like its own dedicated thing to trade on. But
you hear it, Joey. Reach out to my man. Reach out to him. Let him know. He'll explain more.
Yeah,
all right,
it's a bit complicated
here. Let's go. Let's get after it, traders. Let's get after it. Let's see what we can do today, man. Q's starting up with the up action. Michael, it's okay if you need to get the camera down, focus on some trading, knock that out. Let us know what you're seeing. And then, of course, I'll put up my charts. Let me know if you need the charts or anything. Let's go, trading team. Let's go see what we can do. Boeing out the gates here, bouncing off of that 200 spot. Coming back, I think it might come for that 204. We'll see what happens. I'm looking around to see what's trading. First thing is Grail, right? Going to see what happens with Grail here. It's already pulling back out the gates. Did do some sales up there to 43.76. Going to continue to watch it. Don't want it to break 42.50 today, but just got to let it work. SPY up out the gates here. I'd like to see it hold 600. Qs, Can we break 532s? Qs are stronger, guys. I'm seeing the Qs kind of leading the action here. Let's go to see what's leading the Qs here. On semiconductor, CrowdStrike with a nice little lift here. MongoDB with a little lift off there. Let's see what else is kind of making the move on the day. NVIDIA with a nice little push above. NVIDIA's a good little setup here. 9 EMA recovery off the 141. So really, I like that look because you're really kind of stopping out some of these bulls to the left. Then now you can really start going back to the 145. That's looking good out the gates here. Zscaler pushing. Dollar Tree not bad off that 9 EMA. I'll tell you guys right now, even my wife has said it. Dollar Tree and Dollar General, mainly Dollar Tree, has gotten some better quality stuff. They're charging more for it, and they might find a way to adjust, right? And it seems like the business actually is not doing too bad here on the bounce and almost filling the gap all the way back to 96. Netflix doing really well at the gates there in the queues, looking around to see what else is taking the lead. CrowdStrike on semiconductors, some of the stocks that are really leading, and Zscaler. So some cybersecurity names. HIMS with the liftoff. Let's go, HIMS. 58 moved really fast there, guys. CrowdStrike, Zscaler, Rigetti. Nice setup in Rigetti above the 1270s. Going to the 13 here. We'll look to see if it keeps on running.
Just watching the market really rejected that 600 level pretty high. Just shut off the camera and everything to try to save with just because I noticed some choppiness. But yeah, huge rejection right from 600. So that's the level, I think, like 650 or so was the market high, and then we rejected from there as well.
Rigetti pushing, trying to get through that 13. I'd like to set up earlier. I didn't want it to go for this 13, so I'm looking for pullbacks at 1280s, but it's holding well here in the 13s. We'll look to see if it keeps on running. UMAC getting a nice little move. That's one name that I was looking at to see if it had a good day. And look at the lift off in UMAC. That's looking real good. That tells me RCAT. Watch for RCAT. RCAT starting to lift there. I'm going to take a shot here in a second on RCAT. It's pushing strong already in this pre-market here. I'll take a little bit there, trying to get it to spike here towards the 880s, go towards the 9. Taking just 200 shares here of RCAT as that Rigetti really lifting off there. UMAC really kind of pushing, so trying to play a little catch-up game to this one. Archer's another one that's lifting off there. That looks good on a trend line break through the 12. So just trying to keep names out there, setups for you guys that I'm seeing working. SMR doing well. NNE kind of recovering that 33. I like that recovery of 33. There's the lift in RCAT, and I'm starting to get this to go in my direction. We'll see what happens. Can this really kind of just take off to the 883s? $9 is where I'm really looking for this to go. Let's see if this can start to push towards the 870s. Pullback could be towards the 850s. We'll see what happens here. Let's keep trading, team. All right, looking around. Coin dropping fast today. Now, that's one I do see pulling back. HIMS kind of leading the action. I'm still looking for a pullback in HIMS. I'll set an alert there in HIMS to see if it comes back to it. 57 is the level that I like on HIMS, but needs to come back. Looking around out there, let's see what's kind of getting the trade. AMD trying to make another move up. I like that. AMD could be making a 90 May pullback. That's 119. It's holding to 200 right now, so I'm just keeping an eye on that, see if it's going to rip above the 121. You guys out there, smash the like. If you guys see any trade, mention it. We'll keep taking a look out there. Let's go, team. Let's have some fun. Let's get traded.
Yeah, SPY pulled back VWAP so far, which is fantastic. Kind of what we want to see here. Holding on that 599.5 pretty well. We're seeing some. Take a look at the Qs. We're seeing some relative outperformance. It's chopping up near highs, and then our IWM that we talked about as well, underperforming as per usual. So might be a little bit of a reversion back on the rate side of things.
All right, I'm trying not to keep eyes too much on this RCAT. Just want it to go, so I'm just going to set the stop and just go looking at some other trades. Want to be able to catch some pullbacks out the gates here. HIMS just hit the VWAP and it just ripped right back up, guys. That's one I wanted to kind of catch here. Wasn't fast enough. That's why I was trying to get annoyed of sometimes it's about opportunity cost, right? So in that RCAT, it wasn't moving as fast and it just was a quick lift there in HIMS. I'll still look for a 57 look to see if I get a chance, but I don't expect it right now. So we'll see what happens there in HIMS if I get a 57 chance. Palantir trying to hold on this 36, something to keep an eye out for. CrowdStrike kind of pulling back. IonQ lifting there. That one looked good. Watching the daily chart on that one, Rigetti, of course, did get above that 13, now 13.19. QUBT was an interesting one. I thought it could top out today, and it's topping out, man. It's coming down fast here towards the 19. I'd like to see that one go back towards the VWAP, and then I could VWAP reject it, but it already did that. Look at that. Bounce, fail. That was a good look there, QUBT. We'll see what happens. Oh, that's a tough one.
Oracle. Oracle's ripping here. Had
Oracle's
earnings,
ripping, man. Yeah. And it's to tell you the truth, man. I think this is something that we got to continue to watch. The software names getting the lift there. Our CRM, one I'm watching today, starting to lift here off the kind of support test to 263, starting to get the move back. This is not a bad one to watch. It's had a nice pullback from 275. Could start catching some swing back to the upside. This is one I'll keep on the radar. Back above, like, let's say 266 today, I wouldn't mind the risk on 264, 265. So I'll keep the lookout there. RCAT starting to go in my direction here. I'm going to go for an add and then a break even hold here. Let's see if it just runs through the 870s towards 9. There it goes. Nice little push there. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Now I can go ahead and look to see if this lifts off. There's 870s. I'll show you guys that right now. RCAT, let's go 1 minute here. So you guys can see that little push there. It pushed off the 9, went to the 870s. Looking good here. I got about 400 shares. Starting to push about 10 cents. I'm looking for that push towards like the 880s. I can take half off and then look for the rip higher. Let's see if we get that lift here. 74s. Looking towards the 880s there. Now we're starting to push there. 880s should come into play in a second here. Looking to sell some out there. Come on, push, push, push. Let's go. Let's go. There's 79 on the offer. In a second, I'm going to have to put out the sell. Just looking for another little push here. Let's go. Get above the 80s. There we go. Orders out to sell some here at 80. Boom. Just sold some there on the rip there. Let's go. Now moving the stop up to that 880 is going to let this continue to run to 9. If it pulls back, I'll take the 880s and get out. Let's go. $80 to start the day. Let's trade, baby. What you got, Michael?
I'm just saying Qs are at highs. They're trying to break highs right now. That's going to help out. That's going to help out what you're looking at with RCAT. All those different names looking good. SPY, a little bit of underperformance, but it's trying here as well, right? So $600.80. That's the pre-market high, so we got to watch that. But nice green candles here, kind of across the board as things try very hard to go positive, right? Qs are very close to going positive. SPY right behind it. Dow is the laggard today, but that makes sense with the the Boeing being such a large Dow component, so that makes sense. IWM is just being IWM, not
boom. 890s coming into play here, guys. Now just raising the stop here towards the 885s. Now I got $46 no matter what here, and I already got 30s. There he goes. Cut me out there. I'll take the trade off there. RCAT, nice little trade out the gates here. The idea was to trade to 9. If I'm going to take 890s, sometimes I won't be greedy with it. I think it still gets into the 9 here, but I'm not going to be greedy with it. It's a great first trade to give a nice cushion on the day and keep trading. Let's go. And what was this move? It was just a move off UMAC, right? I just said UMAC going. Let's go relationship style. Let's do it.
So yeah, it just took a shot here on BABA from the VWAP to VWAP trade. A nice little push up here. So GameStop just stopped me out kind of instantly right off the open. So I'll give that one another shot if it gives it to me a little later. BABA is starting to rip here a bit.
Tesla ripping. Nice little rip up there in Tesla, guys. Broke out of the flag pattern that we talked about in the pre-market with a nice little pullback, throwback look at the 322s, 323s. So good look there. Hourly bull flag, breaks, going higher.
And massive relative strength on that Tesla, right? It's green on the day and up 1% when everything else in the world is struggling. So it's looking great.
Yeah, I called both sides on that, right? Like I still feel like the Trump comments yesterday were pretty negative, but I think it's just in play, whichever way. Gotta watch it, guys. SMR doing well. RCAT hitting there. $8.99. So right towards that $9 pretty much, right? I'll take that anytime. Good trade today. Let's keep trading, guys. UMAC almost to that 870s, almost to the 9. Good trades, guys.
Yeah, here's the SPY. Here's the SPY fighting. It's fighting to get through this pre-market. So it had the wick right off the open. That pushed us down. And we had a pre-market highs. Looks like I'm taking another shot in GameStop here. So it is what it is. So I'm back in this GameStop. I'll try again. It's one of those, the beauty of trading, right, is you can get stopped out. And then if this one triggers through, that's a 3-hour trade. So I lost 1 hour in the beginning. So it would be a net 2-hour plus trade. So
starting to notice that the quantum names are going red, even on kind of the trade like a Rigetti. So just be careful. Archer pulling back here. That one's interesting. But definitely quantum names, be careful. I'm seeing a pretty ugly kind of bull trap on all the charts. QUBT kind of leading the downside action. Ion Q is right on the kind of the rip and pullback. We'll see if it goes right back up, but Rigetti went actually below the open, which is telling me watch out for the bull trap, right? So nice big candle. Everyone gets excited. They buy, and look how they all got washed. So just be careful out there, guys. There's Boeing alert. Boeing alert, guys. Boeing alert. 205 coming into play here with Boeing. You're almost getting your sell signal there, my friend.
Yeah, almost. So yeah, that's 205.80 right now is the 2-day VWAP. So just another little push higher. I'll be looking to get out of that. So GameStop loser, Boeing looks like, well, it'll definitely be a winner. I wouldn't let it cost me now. The question is now, right? We know we've seen this happen before, so I'll be interesting to watch. And we talked about this a bit yesterday. Something that I'm looking to do is potentially flip these short. So if Boeing hits that 2-day VWAP and then fails there and gets back through the VWAP of the day, maybe that's your flip to go short, right? It's showing that it doesn't want to reclaim yesterday's range. It just had a little bit of a pop out the open. So watching this one now for short, maybe.
I know their computers probably, but I don't know how the hell people trade Boeing with 2,000 shares, 1,000, 3,000 shares. That's so tough. Man, it would definitely give me gray hairs pretty fast if I was trading Boeing with thousands of shares. I don't know about you right now, but holy moly. Definitely
more evidence about being a systematic trader, right? Again, I'll get you there. Don't you worry.
3,000 shares of Boeing. That's a lot of money, guys. Just add that up, guys. 205 times 3,000. We'll see it.
All right, I'm out. I'm out of the Boeing there. I chickened out just a little bit early, like I always
do. You can't do that to me, man. You're making me want to short.
Well, so now I want us to watch this as a room, right? Because we talked about this when we were interviewing Kenny. He would look at this and say, if it fails here, right here, which is the 2-day VWAP, you'd wait for it to get back through VWAP to the downside, and there's your short. There's nothing wrong with if you've got two setups on a stock, there's nothing wrong with being bullish 1 minute and bearish the next. That's trading, right?
That's day trading, especially. That's what I would say. In swing, I don't know if you're doing that too often, but definitely in day trading, you need to have that ability. That's where a lot of day traders struggle. Let's be honest.
Well, and especially when the thing that I expect or I wanted to happen happened, right? Is that the gap down was a little bit overdone and it retraced some of that gap. That's great. So, good trade, made my money out, and my theory has then completed. I don't think what happened, regardless of whether they find out it's Boeing's fault or not, is good for Boeing. This isn't positive news. So, right, there's nothing wrong with potentially later taking a short on this, right?
Yeah, and you're taking overreaction, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're trading.
Yeah, it's overreaction.
It overreacted to the downside, right? On the first.
Well, and then the idea is that if it fails, if this gap fill fails, then you have a lot of people out there that probably bought it like I did, and maybe they didn't get out. And so if you break back down through VWAP, that could be your signal that it's trying to go. But look how well it's respecting that 2-day VWAP, at least for now.
I'm trying to get short here, 205, guys. Let's see if I get it on the swing. And I'm going with small size on the first one. Trying to get 205 off the 206.
You're swinging Boeing. Whoa. See, that's even braver than I would, even as a systematic guy. You're braver man than me.
Yeah, and also I want to give myself the room. If I go into day trade, I have a feeling I'll go too big size here. And I'm not looking for just a little move. I'm looking for this to go back to 195. So that's what I would be watching for on the swing. It could all get done today. We'll see what happens. Just trying to get the fill here at 205. It's rejecting the fill. So I hate when it does this. All right, there you go. They got the pop fill into it. Let's go ahead now. I can just risk off the high. I'm just going to risk off 206 to make it easy, right? Not get complicated on this.
The beauty, it's something, right, I want to circle back what you said there is that, this, I've got a target in mind. This could happen today. Just because, if you go to the trade the pool and you open a swing trading account, doesn't mean you have to swing every trade, right? If you make what you expect to make in a minute or an hour, just take it, right?
And with swings, what I love doing sometimes is like this, right? This is giving me almost instant move. Like if it could break 204 and I'm up already to $20, I can just put like the break even and just look to keep playing it until I actually get that bigger side move that I'm looking for. Right? We'll see what happens. Let's go trading, guys. UMAC got up there to 875. RCAT went to 940s. So not a bad breakout out the gates today, guys. Red to green on that move. Pretty good move. Looking around, Tesla still holding on there. Hood pushing, takeoff and Hood, guys. Takeoff city. This has to do with I think that like I mentioned, the $1,000 and things like that. Everyone's just feeling Hood. It's pushing strong there.
Q's green on the day, officially green, just ticked up.
Yeah, this is the name that I wanted to look for the trade to the upside. CEG. We'll see if it kind of can continue. Yesterday, OKLO, big rip up. Was looking to see if GEV and CEG would play catch up. Yesterday, remember, I was looking at the 292. We just ripped through that 292. So I'll look for a move back to 293 here where I could risk on the 292. There's Boeing. There's Boeing going pretty good in my direction, guys. 205 rejection, right back down. So let's start seeing this really start to make its way towards the 204. There's the 204s coming. At this point, I can go break even. I'm not going exactly break even, but pretty much 205 10s and just letting it go. Just let it go. It either going to work for me or it ain't, man. And I think I like these types of trades right here. Or I don't even feel the stress. I'm just like, let's just see if it keeps going. All right, I'm going to start looking around out there, look to see if the SPY maybe takes a little pullback, but it's strong right here out the gates, looking to see what's leading in the SPY. CEG leading in the SPY. Of course, that's the stock I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pullback to 293s. We'll see if we get it. RCAT holding on the 9 EMA, pushing strong. That's a good name in the small cap space. Let's look in the small cap space, see what I'm seeing out there. IPA, another name that's getting a little lift. Definitely a biotech dollar stock. XTIA.
That should be a beer
aerospace
stock, man, with a ticker like that.
I know IPA, man. I don't know how someone that is not a beer maker didn't steal IPA, but I mean, we won't. I don't work for their PR company. I definitely would have. I'd even take that if I was like, I don't know. Like you could. There's so many craft companies, right? But they're all under like the bigger brewery companies. I think the same thing happens with like kind of cannabis. There's going to be about 3 or 4 cannabis names when they finally go public. I think that's something to think about. And that's just the same way the beer kind of worked out, right? With craft. Snow doing really well, guys. These cybersecurity names, I talked about it, man. You didn't want to miss this move, guys. There was too many of the big traders looking at this, and that's what told me to keep my eye on it. It's not just my eyes. It's also the eyes of others that really like these names. And we were seeing Snow in this sideways consolidation. It just keeps getting to buy. Zscaler is the leader, and it just doesn't want to stop. It just doesn't want to stop, man. This thing has been in an absolute beautiful breakout. Beautiful trend trade. It doesn't even break the 9 by like a hair on this Zscaler. Look at the daily chart on this thing. That's pretty. That's pretty right there.
Cybersecurity is just continuing. Like if you look at the hack ETF and all that, that's been a great trade. The basing right at highs, right at all-time highs, and potentially pushing up from there. So just to retell people, I have no face. This is a tax thing. I'm getting some work done to the house, so I'm out on a hot spot, and I live in the middle of the woods, so there's a lot of things against me today. So I'm trying to limit the bandwidth as much as possible. Q's actually went red again, so it's battling back and forth with trying to go green on the day. So I think we need to watch that pretty closely and see if it can kind of stick the landing here on being green for the day. I'd really like to see the SPY flip green, just because I think that would show kind of the world that, there's a bunch of World War III talk and all that kind of nonsense that we don't care. We're going to go green regardless. If we stick green, man, away we go.
SMR taking off. That tells me to take a shot, and then I might take a shot right here. Gonna look for another bottom break. It's had 1, 2, 3 attempts down here. I want to look to see if it can do a 3280 break. If not, watching for it to get back above the 3330s here on NNE. SMR just taking off, looking to play a little catch up. CEG probably not going to give me the shot, so I'm looking at NNE here. We'll see what happens.
GameStop is kind of the only thing I've got sitting open right now, and that is it's working out fairly well. It's pulling back to test VWAP now, so I'm going to put that rule in of a 2-minute close below VWAP. I'll kill that. I'm just trying to get my money back on that early trade.
They came and got me on that Boeing move, man. No, that's a little frustrating, guys. That's why you don't leave your stop out there. They literally got me to the key and brought it right back to the 204s here. The problem is now if I go after Boeing, I'm going to have to chase here on the 204s. I'm not going to chase it. So I'm just going to leave it alone. That little spike there got me out there. So just going to leave it alone for now. We'll leave it on the sideline. Grail coming down a little bit further than I wanted to. So we could start seeing some pullbacks. Watching out there. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, with Boeing again, what I really want to watch, because this was what Kenny told us, and I'd love to make this part of the trading repertoire as well, is in this scenario we're waiting for a close below VWAP, right? So it means the price we're going to take is not going to be good, because that's like 100 or 202 right now. But I'll be interested. So basically, you would risk two highs, right? So the 202 and the then 205 would be your stop. So that'd be a pretty wide stop. You're talking $3. So the question is, do you think you can get $6 from 202, which would be 94? I think that's pretty doable for sure. So, I liked your trade just as well, just trying to grab a top there. And they snake you there, but I want to follow this. The reason I'm describing it, right, is I want to follow it as a group, right? I want to say, okay, as for all of us together, because this is how I built the initial strategy, right? Is that I just watched for a bit and then I started, paper trade it and trade it small. We could do that
Get
well.
One more push.
Go from there, right?
Right. If I look at the rule of 3, that says maybe one more push to the trend line and fails. So that's what I'm watching for now. You made a couple of trend line presses. Let's see if we go back, then fail. Just keeping an eye out as an opportunity back towards 205. We'll see what happens. Just going to leave it alone for now.
Yeah,
Seeing stocks go down fast, guys. Stocks going down fast. Something happened there. Q's nice big candle there, guys. Be careful out there. It's actually causing my Grail trade to go down fast too. So got to be careful on a day like today. I still think that, we broke that trend, and I'm not liking that break of trend on the daily pattern. That was a pretty quick candle there, right off the 532.50 level on the Qs. We just rejected it. So I want to get back above that level here. Just be careful out there, guys. I feel like this is still a little early for the fake out, but I'm still watching it. We're getting close to 10 here. Watch out.
Yeah, I'm on the streets here just to see if that was something. Iran's foreign minister was talking, so that's never a good thing.
Yeah, never a good thing. Boeing coming back there for the 205 look. Might get another chance. Just watching the Qs, see if they pull back a little bit further. If it was just a fake out candle, it was a big candle. At least it was a big ramp up really quickly. So if you can hold that low, that wick, I'll watch for that right now. If we blow through it, got to be careful on longs. So that's what I'm watching for right now. I'm still looking at NNE for recovery, back above VWAP if it wants to go, because the SMR is still in pretty good shoes there. Got an alert there from something. I'm going to find out which one it is here. Oh, Boeing back towards 205.
I'm watching actually gold here. I'll grab this. Gold is kind of potentially doing the VWAP to VWAP trade, right? It's been holding above VWAP all morning. If we end up breaking through here with a target of 308, that's a pretty good risk reward trade. So I've actually added gold here to the to the list. I may look to see. There's got to be a double leverage, just gold, right? Not gold miners, but just gold in general.
Reshort Boeing for the opportunity here. We'll see what happens. I got a way like the entry isn't the best. It definitely market filled, not the best there. 204, 30, 31. But watching it now to see if it breaks 204s and just keeps going here. Let's see what happens. 204, 16. That's a third rejection of the high on the 205. Back to 205 tells me immediately I got to get out above that. So looking for this to break the 204s, head back to VWAP, which is 202, 40s. Might add here on the 204 break. Yeah, NNE coming down fast tells me more and more. Watch out with the market here. Might have to take the money in Grail, guys. Just doesn't seem like it wants to hold today. It's starting to bounce here, so at least I can set up a low of the day, kind of risk out if I need to. Yeah, I'm going to at least secure some cash there, right? I'll secure some cash if it completely rotates against me. That's for Grail. Grail here, guys. You can see it's pulling back. I still really like this daily chart, but it could go back to the 9 EMA. Not going to let that happen. I'll take the cash, and if anything, I'll reload. Boeing now starting to come down pretty fast. Just broke that 204s. So now I can go ahead and try to get a 204 add here. If I can get it. It broke down pretty fast to that 204.
Took a flat on both GameStop and Baba. Break even trade on both those. Just gave it a chance to do something. Came back to VWAP, and the market's not looking too fantastic right here. So just one of those. And cut it a little bit early, potentially get back in if things develop. But Qs are holding VWAP after that pullback, so that's looking good. One of those, it was a weird candle. I didn't see too much when I went on the streets to see what happened. So it could have just been one of those, shake the trees quote I saw earlier today, which I loved, is that, right, bull markets, just like a normal bull, try to shake off the people riding it up. So that might have been what happened there. Can't see anything news related. So just a quick pullback to VWAP and then a bounce from there for now.
No ads on the Boeing. It doesn't want to give me the ad, telling me more and more this thing might want to flush here. We'll see what happens. Looking good, at least. I'm not going to chase on the ad, because that's how you ruin an ad on a stock like Boeing, where it's like dollars that this stock is moving. You can't push too much because you easily get the bounce. Canceling now. It's on the lows. No point in having it out there. It's just giving it more attempt to come and fill me on big pops. So at this point, just holding and looking for this to break the 203s and just head down. There we go. Looking good here in Boeing. Let's go for the 203 breakdown, and let's see if we get a VIX spike here with this. I might trade the VIX here, guys. Day trade action, of course, only short term.
Yeah, that's a nice move there with Boeing, right? The fact that the Qs are for now holding on after that sell off, and Boeing is not, shows some good relative weakness there for sure.
Yeah, I'm watching right now to see if we do this liquidity move in the VIX here, and then a shot higher. So just watching it here. I think I get a bounce here in Boeing. Got to be careful here. Just understand the risk. That's what it's all about here, guys. Understanding the risk here. We're getting back to that 204s. And I want to see if the Qs do a little pop here and then the quick drop. There's a drop right back into the 203.50s. So at this point, just looking for this to reject here, not back above 204s. And just keeps going down, back to break even on the stop. Another trade where I'm letting it try to happen. If it works, it works. All right, what's going on out there, guys? You're trading speculation on Boeing. Yeah, nothing wrong with trading speculation. That's what a lot of traders trade on, especially these momentum style moves. It's all speculation.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this in the pre-market. There is that binary event that's probably going to come out today, tomorrow, the next day, and say definitively, yes, it was Boeing, or yes, it was human error. It's, I took my trade and I'm out. I'm looking for, again, a break of 202, which is the current VWAP to the downside, but it's no different from anything else to those things. It's to any trade for me. It's all systems.
It's hard not to buy the HIMS pullback. I'm thinking about it, but man, it's just like I can't do both, right? So I'm still playing that Q's breakdown here. That's just the way it looks like for me. But it could be a fake out, right? We'll see what happens here. I like this HIMS chart, but I also like the VIX chart. There's the spike in Boeing to get me out break even. I'd rather get out break even than keep battling it, right? So I'm just waiting for the trend to work in my favor and not trying to battle once the trend starts working in my favor. That's how you get in trouble. I feel like if you're adding here into the red on Boeing, if I went to add here in Boeing, I'd be opening myself up for what? Just to rip through towards like 207. So instead, I can always wait and then get back in, right? As long as it's above the 9, there's really no reason for me to be kind of shorting. Once it breaks the 9s, when we can get that momentum breakdown, right? But what did it do? It held the 50, right? So I'd look for another break of the 9 and an actual breakdown of the 50.
I got triggered here on a short of gold. So just put
short of gold.
Right. The basic idea. I found some leverage gold ETFs. They just didn't have the liquidity for me, to be honest. But yeah, the idea was, pretty simple, right? Looking above VWAP all morning after a gap up, and looks like it could potentially be fading back through VWAP. Target here is kind of this 2-day VWAP that's sitting around 308. So again, just another little shot on it. I just liked it because it was like a 3 or 4 to 1 risk reward. And I'll take those kind of anytime I can get them. Don't have to be right very often in order to make those profitable.
It's hard. It's hard to determine which way to go about it right here. I want to buy HIMS at 57. I want to buy the VIX here. So it's kind of hard, right? That's just the way that I see the market. It's back and forth right here. So instead, I'm going to probably just not do either, right? Like, I like this setup. I even got an alert for the 57 entry here on HIMS. This is what I was watching when the stock first broke out, getting back into that range. It's just hard with the market the way it's teetering right now, the Qs at least. We'll see what happens here. If we actually get a pullback or the 15-minute move right back up. There's the kind of fake breakdown there in the VIX. I'm going to take a shot here in the VIX, but just be safe out there, traders. Like always, understand your risk to return. That's what I'm understanding, and that's why I'm taking the shot.
Yeah, one of those low volume choppy days that we talk about where probably makes sense to really not spend too much time focused on the Qs. Right now I've got an alert set at the highs, an alert set in the lows, and I'm not going to even really look at it between those. Same with the SPY. What you want to do is you want to find the stocks in play, the trends that are moving, and focus on those, because we've seen a lot of these over the last couple weeks where the market does absolutely nothing in the morning and then does something crazy in the afternoon, and you just want to make sure that when the market's doing nothing, you're either not trading at all or you're just looking at each stock kind of on its own merit as opposed to being part of the market itself.
All right, might get triggered out here in the VIX. It'll be a small little stop out. I'll put the risk right there.
Damn, the core we've mentioned there, the intraday chart on that thing. Holy smokes, you want to see a sell program that
it came into play. Came into play for sure.
Yeah,
out of that VIX for $33 loss there, still in the green on the day. Gonna keep watching to see what happens with these trends.
Yeah, so these are the kind of when I see something like that, I'm not interested in anything but a potential short on this one. Just because this is very sell program. Like we talk about all the time. When you see this many consecutive candles, just means there's somebody out there saying, okay, get me out.
Ripping.
Right? Long-term chart still looks fine. But yeah, this is definitely, there's a sell program that hit CoreWeave today. We have the
There's Hims
Qs
right back up.
popping right through, back through VWAP. So might be something to check out there. I don't know if that's going to
Maybe
be
it
good
can
or
hold.
bad for
We'll
my
see.
gold, but
See.
it is what it is.
All right, starting to see NNE start to come back. That's one that I wanted to take a shot in. I might take a shot right here. Just looking for the Qs to push to 533s, not just come right back down to 532s. So got to give it a second here. See if it can hold this 530, 532.50 area. This is a good area for it to hold and then launch from. Holding, trying to launch now. The spread would go about 20 cents wide right now on NNE. Looking for this to recover back on the 15-minute, can risk on the 32.60. Boeing goes back there to the 206, but rejects. Watching for, see what happens with that. Q's holding on this 532.50s. Let's see if it makes the next move up. UMAC holding well.
Yeah, we have on the SPY, we got the 2-day VWAP at 602. And on the Qs, that's a little bit closer to us currently. It's 533.50. So that's kind of the next area to watch. That gets us again above or at the average price of today and yesterday's action. Interesting to always see what happens there if we end up getting some sort of a turn.
SMR right back to the highs. That's what's making me feel a little bit better. CEG never pulled back. That's another good sign in kind of nuclear today. Just got to see the Qs rip right back up here. Saw a little bit of a pullback, but still holding above the 532.50s. Boeing just chopping all around. Grail also just chopping all around. Looking for trends out there, guys. Looking for trends.
Yeah, because even though that last 5-minute candle was really, really strong,
AVGO.
Overall, this is still a range-bound market, right? We're inside yesterday's range and dealing with that. So
some tech names leading. I think that's what's holding us up here, and I think that's a good sign. That's a good sign to see, guys. So tech names doing pretty decent. The one that's in the red is like Apple, but other than that, I'm seeing some pretty good action. Amazon up, Microsoft up, Nvidia up over 1%, AVGO 2.5%. It's going to be hard to fight down the Qs with that type of action there. So I think we're looking here, looking strong. Tesla pushing also. Tesla came back there, gave you an opportunity on the VWAP. This could really start to chug along here. I don't mind maybe it's some scalps in Tesla now, especially as we just got this little pop above. This kind of like little flagging pattern. If it can hold 326 here, it doesn't look too bad. Just push to the 327s. That could kind of get me to really feel a little bit stronger on the longs. I'm just trying to be patient here too. UMAC getting another lift there, guys. That's not a bad trade there. RCAD, of course, didn't even pull back to the VWAP. Oh, now the VWAP's caught up to it, but at 9. Remember? So like this is holding pretty well here. RCAT leading the market. UMAC and RCAT. UMAC was one that I talked about at the pre-market. It could be a good move today. Nice little pullback on the VWAP, right back up there. Simple trade there on UMAC. I hope somebody's nailing it. Him still struggling along.
The VWAP move that much in RCAT is super interesting because it just shows that there's a lot of volume being printed up here near its highs.
Taxay Mitch, it's so hard to talk and trade. Yeah, you're doing a great job. Trust me, guys. It's just experience, but it is hard to kind of really pay attention to a lot and also still trade. It's definitely not something that I tell a lot of people to kind of jump into, right? It's not easy to stream and trade at the same time. It's definitely a little bit harder, puts a little more pressure on you, but can also keep you more accountable. Right, you got to find the positive in life. There's always the silver lining, guys. This market's the silver lining market. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this rally going.
Yeah, SPY just flipped green here, which is great. RSP, which is the equal weighted SPY, also doing okay. IWM still down 0.75%. So IWM just cannot get going. We had like what 3 days of outperformance, and now it's just crapping the bed again.
Steph, Mitch is the best at multitasking. I don't know. Maybe my wife wouldn't agree with that one, but you know how that one goes. All right, guys, I just got a nice recovery there on NNE. Q's going higher. I wanted to risk, remember, 3260s. We went back to that level here, so I can get an entry pretty close to that. I'm watching it right now, looking for the recovery. One thing is a 21 cent spread. It's kind of, harder to kind of just really jump right into. But I get this bullish engulfing candle. Just looking for it to come back through 33s here, and we can start looking for NNE to get right back up there. Nice looking candle right here, back to 3280s. Would have to risk 3240s, and that's just what you got to keep in mind. How much is your risk to return? What you can get? NNE, definitely on the watch for me.
About 50 cents away from the 2-day VWAP on the Qs.
Ooh, that's a nice recovery in MSTR. Sorry to interrupt there.
Right? No, I was just saying that, right? We're getting to a point. I'm very interested to see what happens at that 2-day VWAP on the Qs. If we just plow right through it, that's going to probably show us that there's some sort of buy program going on. If we struggle at that zone, that'll be interesting. Also seeing a pretty good rebound in Bitcoin. It was down over 2% today at one point, still down 1% now.
Yeah, I'd look to see kind of these. Yeah, there it is. Spike in Clean Spark. Right back. And remember, I was looking at Clean Spark back in 9s, looking for a move to 10. It got to 10, back to the 9, reloading today, it seems like. So keep your eyes on that. MSTR is one that I like also today. It's already recovered VWAP, so it's hard for me to play that one. But 380 to 386 was a really nice move there in MSTR. Could get hot here. Q's going higher. Now it's time to go for that NNE. I'm going to take the shot here. See if I can grab 100 off of the offer right now, and then there you go, nice little pullback into that. Let's see, come on, catch some buys here. Doesn't look bad at all, but I'm trying to be patient with NNE. It's not above VWAP yet, so I don't have to rush. When stocks aren't above VWAP and I'm trying to long them, I don't need to rush into it. This UMAX still looking really good, guys, leading the market right now. SMR also not looking too bad. That's another reason why I'm trading NNE. SMR is more of a chase for me if I go after it here. It's still the stronger name, right? So sometimes you want to go with the strength. But I'd like to tell you guys this so that you guys can see what's my ideas and thinking, right? Is it NNE or SMR? For me, personality-wise, I think it's NNE here. But some people would take the SMR trade here. Right? It's just what more you like, right? But I think it's important to look for that.
Challenging that 2-day VWAP on the Qs, right? That's
yeah.
We backed off it pretty hard just on that initial reaction. Got within 5-10 cents of it, and then now we pulled back 50 cents. So interesting to see if that's just going to be a little bit of a reload, a little bit of a shake the trees.
Ooh.
We're actually going to see some resistance there.
Archer starting to pull back. This is an interesting chart because it's like extended away, but it did a big breakout out the gates there. Will it catch again? It's interesting. It's right on the support. We'll see what happens here. This is what's keeping me also on the sideline for NNE. Still not really kind of breaking out towards the upside there. So it's by keeping on the sideline, I'm just not wasting my green that I already have, right? So I have a little cushion. Want to keep using that. Had a really great day yesterday. Got to be smart on a day like today. Whenever I have a really great day, the number one thing I want to do the next day is be a little bit careful, right? Not especially sizing wise, right? The number one way to ruin a good trade is to make the next trade with too much size.
Yeah, the only thing I got on the go right now is this gold short, up just like a few dollars in it. Nothing really to write home about while we wait.
Yeah, Boeing can't break this 206. It seems like there's a seller there or something. I'm not sure what's going on there, but
Oh yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm still watching. So now that the 1-day VWAP's up at 202.50. So again, I've got an alert set for if we break down under this VWAP a little bit later to I'm going to take a small trade on it, a small short. But if we never get to it, then right, there's no trade to take.
All right, I like that SMR kind of holding in here. I'm just still looking at the cues. They're still stair stepping, just waiting for the action really to react here. And then I can take a trade on this NNE. Still kind of fading though. Just needed to actually recover some. So now this is the pattern, right? I can at least know that 3250s is kind of like the out there, right? If I break 3250s, that will be like the warning. But it could come fast here, right? So I'm essentially looking for me to make the move towards the VWAP first so that at least I know where my risk and return is. Q's wicking down a little bit there, so we'll look around out there. Just be careful, guys. Tesla pulling back again. So it seems like we're getting these like quick momentums, and if you don't sell into the momentum, you can easily just get that trade ruined, right? So just be careful out there, guys. UMAC back to 9 here, struggling a little bit though to extend away from 9. So we'll see if this one can just keep climbing on the day. How did those kind of Rigetti trying to come back? Will it just fade back down? QUBT. Definitely a fade today, guys. This was looked like a fade in the pre-market. It definitely looks a little toppy here after it blew out above the Bollinger Band. Now starting to come back down. There is NNE trying to make the move here, going to 3290s. Doesn't look bad. It's not moving fast.
Yeah, everything's kind of stalled out just a little bit here. Right at the 2-day VWAP for the Qs. Funny enough, we got there and then we just kind of resting for 6 minutes or so now.
How's that IPO? How's Circle doing? Is it starting to break that down? Oh yeah, this looks like a nice fade today.
The SPY, however, is actually starting to outperform the Qs, and it's not something that we've seen all day. So it's showing me that there's some other sectors that must be looking good a little bit under the hood here. So it might be worthwhile to kind of poke around and take a look at that.
Mm-hmm. Boeing rejecting the 206 back to the 205s, just continuing to watch it. Now we'll put a trend line on it, wait for the trend line to break, and then come after it. So for me, that trend line runs with that 204.50s down move and then just kind of draw it off of that and just waiting for that to break, right? So I'll show you guys that. That's just as simply as just draw the bottom, connect that little wick, connect those wicks, 3 wicks, makes a trend line, boom, boom, looking for that to break. And once that starts to break with a support break like this 204, that's where I'll look for the short. And at this point, I'll probably have to go a little bit higher size and just go for the quick break to 202. I don't think it'll get to the 195 today unless we really, really turn around on the Qs here and the SPY. And I don't want to be the jinxster, but of course, pullback candle when I start to say that. Coin is interesting. It's like this nice bear flag, but I don't know if you guys see coin as a stock that is going to break down the supports right underneath it. Looking around that RSLS 360s pullback made sense to me on that. It's just pulled back to the 360s, even 350s. Let's see if it recovers this and goes for the move to 4. So I'd be risking on the 350s here for RSLS. Haven't traded a penny stock today. Why not? Let's have some fun. Let's just go for the 100 shares here and just have a little fun because I like the setup and I was already thinking about it off the 360s here. So I'll take it here. Let's just take it here. I'm going to risk a little bit tiny here. Just going to risk down there towards, let's do the 356. So it's only $13 just to try to make the trade, right? Just try to take a little bit of a trade example here for you guys. 9 EMA recovery, 9 break, liquidity move. Now send it. Right? So I look for these moves all the time. Liquidity, then the send, right? And I can use that as pretty much where I'm risking at, right? So this kind of turned around there. Now I should hold the support that's above this. Not actually there, but above that, right? So right up in this 360 area as support. Now looking for the run to 4, and then it can go higher. This thing spiked up towards 413. So let's see if it can go 4, maybe 440s. If I measure the flag, which is measuring this left-hand side, that's 92 cents from the breakout. 92 cents would put us somewhere up there towards past that. That's closer to 5. So at least risk and return is set there. Let's let it work. Let it work.
Yeah, still not seeing a major reason for the SPY outperformance, but at least the last little bit, we've seen a little bit of a catch up there. Now, it's nice that we went from kind of red to green on the day, and the bad news that happened in the pre-market and overnight, that's kind of all erased. But important to remind people, we are right in the middle of yesterday's range. Like currently, it's an inside day.
Financials lifting. We talked about broadening of the rally. JP Morgan having a pretty good day there. Starting to see some cyclicals starting to prop up. So I think this is at least something to look at, right? So look to see if maybe we start to see that start to be the move here. Amazon having a decent day. Tesla, Netflix, Home Depot up. Baba's getting hit a little bit there. Tells me not to feel too positive. But China's just like a gapper type of trade where it doesn't really matter in the intraday. Melly is trying to recover. Let me see apparel. How's that doing on the day? See in the last 15 minutes, see if we starting to see some trend changing here. Some auto parts really kind of kicking off. Department stores. So, Macy's up today. Tells me more and more. Maybe we are seeing a broadening out of this rally, right? Oh, they got me right on the 360. This is what happens when I trade penny stocks and I put a stop, man. This is what happens, dude. Look at that, man. It was literally to the key, right on the key. The bottom is right on that 360. So that's why you don't put stops. But I ain't gonna say I won't get into that conversation here today because literally it went right to it, got me out. It's right back to that 374. The big thing is I wanted to talk about the market, so I put the stop out there. But normally I don't have the stop out there. And if I don't have the stop out there, it doesn't hit at that 360. It didn't really go underneath that. And I'd still be in the name here. But we'll see what happens if it starts to take off back above 380s, going for the 4 move. I'll let you guys know when it goes for it. I'll put an alert there, and we'll just keep trading. Let's go. NNE still trying to recover, but Q's pulling back a little bit there. We'll see what happens if we actually do get some type of pullback. CEG starting to pull back there. There's the Q's pulling back a little bit further. I feel like we're going to keep playing these like kind of VWAP moves down. So that's one thing just to keep in mind. Seeing a lot of these, and look at Boeing go. There's the move right back down and quickly cutting through that 204. So now I can go looking for a bounce in Boeing. Let's see what happens here. See if I can actually just day trade it here. I got about 36 bucks of risk there, so I'm going to use about 100 shares here. Let's see if we can get this bounce here back towards 204.50s, 204.30s, somewhere in there. I needed some type of bounce. I don't want to chase the lows here. I need a short on the bounce.
Yeah, especially with a stock that's this spready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah, you generally don't want to enter something like this via a market or any chase where you want to set your limit and just be okay if you miss it, because the spread I'm seeing, it's anywhere from 10 cents, but I've seen it open up to like 50. So it could be big.
Yeah, and it went down fast. That's what I wanted to see, right? The quick reaction down. Now you got to look to see if the Qs just get quickly bought back, right? That's also a warning sign. But I'm looking for this kind of a 9 EMA to come back into play. Remember I talked about how the cut downs below the 9 EMA are when I can start to come after it. Now let it try to come back to that 9 EMA and fail. That's what I'm looking for. Let it try to come back and fail. That failing action is where the big shorts should start to get in here, not here at the bottom of the 203. As they squeeze back, I should see volume actually increase into that and get the push. You see how the volume came in on that first breakdown? To me, that was shorts getting in. This big volume bar or longs out. So longs out, shorts getting in, right? So now bounce was very short-lived at 204 there. It's getting hit already right back down. So I might miss this trade because it didn't get to the 204.50 area that I wanted to short. I literally had it already set here. I can show you the order form. So you see the 204.50s. I had it ready to go, but it just bounced there, went to 204.26. Very short lived, already getting hit. I think this starts to come down, at least the VWAP. VWAP's right there. Could have already kind of made that cash, but hey, it is what it is. I'm going to leave it, let it go now. It looks like it really could come down here. I don't know if there was more news that put it out there. Can you put subtitles in Italian? That would be great. That'd be great, man. I'll try. I'll try to set it up as the auto. A lot of times the autos do work, but with live streams, if they get too long, sometimes the captions kind of cut out. But we need to speak some Italian, Michael. We need to speak some Italian, my friend.
Yeah, I can barely speak English. So I'm gonna try to speak Italian.
Like I know in Canada they speak like kind of different.
French.
They speak French, right? But I don't know if you speak any French.
Just enough to
get around, right?
That's about it, right?
Yeah. Cues back up, guys. Right back up on the cues.
Yeah, again, what I'm watching for on Boeing is a clean kind of breakthrough VWAP. That's just the setup that I'm looking to build over time. The only thing I have open is this gold, which has just been kind of chopping around my entry for a long time here. Qs, I'll show you this. It's just, tell me these 2-day VWAPs aren't important, and then take a look at this chart, right? The yellow line is our 2-day VWAP. We've now hit it like 3-4 times and just basing right under this price. So this is the next area that obviously needs to clear in order to push us higher, but just want to remind everyone we are stuck inside of yesterday's range. The SPY a little bit through it, but nothing crazy there. Still just battling that level.
I'm seeing here at least circle down, about to maybe break that opening candle down. That was pretty good wash there. It was about 7 points down. So circle coming down, IPOs coming down. All around. So core weave, right? Another one that's coming down there. So just be careful out there, guys. All right, starting to see NNE try to prop up here. I'm going to take a shot here, guys. It's dangerous here, but market's still kind of holding on there. SMR kind of still holding on. I like the trade. It's just more a matter of it's going to be able to hold on here. SMR right on the VWAP, right? Are we going to get that reversal right back up? Those are the things you need to be thinking about. The Qs just look so toppy. It's hard riding these trends when they get sideways right at the top, and then pullbacks could be quick.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with how we're not able to break the that 2-day VWAP, right? The fact that we're dealing with that's the average price of today and yesterday. It's just a brick wall that we can't get through right now.
Oh man, that Boeing 205 cut down. I don't think I'll be able to get another opportunity in this thing. I think it's just going to keep fading on now. So we'll see what happens with it, but it's just how it goes. They didn't give me the opportunity really. It's a flush really quickly to that 205. Docu coming back, just got back up above VWAP. That's kind of trying to gap fill back. Archer breaking the low, that could go red and really start going red here. I'm not sure, but at least from what I'm seeing out there, it looks like that's going red here. Daily is extended, could be coming down there. Ion Q trying to recover 40. What's up with Rigetti here? Oh, Rigetti got the hot move again. That one's a tough move, man. Big move out the gates. Wash the lows, bring it back all the way to 13. Just shows you the volatility and how patterns aren't really necessarily holding, because this one could have easily been a pattern to hold, and it's just not being able to a lot. I mean, big ranges, right? Just to give in perspective, ATR on Rigetti is like 50 cents, 60 cents. It's pretty fast moving for a $12 stock, right? Shorting is tough today. Yeah, could very much be. High of the day on GME, or low of the day, actually. There you go. Maybe getting a little bit further breakdown there. Qs just look like they just want to tumble, man. I don't know what it is, man. Oh, Grail, you son of a gun, Grail. Oh, man, it got me. It got me, guys. Grail got me. Pulled back and got me right there on that 42 cut down. And it's already starting to come back. I'm just annoyed at Grail. I took money on this trade, just not as much money as I wanted, right? And that's how it's been happening a lot in those swing trades. And that just happens when you open the swing trade account a little too late in the trends. I like to catch bottoms, and it's just kind of hard at this point to catch bottoms. A lot of the trends are extended. Grail, good looking daily chart, just cut me out there, and going to be a little upset about that one. It's just hard to hold on to them right now. TEM looking good here. Let's see if it takes off. It's been sideways on the 15 minutes. We're not getting much trading action right now. It's been sideways since 10:15. Really, it's like maybe time to get the heck out of here, the way that things are trading.
I looked at that V stat for you. I don't see anything there. It's just a stock that hasn't really moved in the last couple of years, over a year. So
This is satellite play.
They missed every earnings report in the last full year. So yeah, just maybe, it's got a little base going on. Maybe it's going to break through that, but it's one of those that why hasn't it gone with all the rest of the satellites so far? So, ASTS is rocketing, Rocket Lab, all these things are doing great. If you couldn't get going during the hype, then if the hype dies down, you're probably going to be the first one to get taken to the woodshed, is the way I look at it.
Oh man, it's getting a little boring. A little boring in this market. Come on, wake up, market. GV kind of hanging on there. CG, no pullback today at all, man. That was one that I wanted to watch, but just didn't catch it out the gates. Really strong move there. Pony. Get your pony. Your pony AI. How's this PDYN? SMR has been on a beautiful breakout, man. Hims, what are you doing? Nothing. Nothing. RCat, where you at? 920s holding on. NNE doesn't want to go anywhere. Bowen's faded. Time to go look into the streets.
New all-time highs in Microsoft. So congratulations them. For those who celebrate. For those who are Microsoft holders. New all-time high today.
Yes. Microsoft, the softy soft. Oh, Shaquille O'Neal to pay $1.8 million to settle FTX investor lawsuit. That's a tough one. That's a tough hit.
I'm watching Bowen here, basing on VWAP. Put it in order, so if it breaks through, I'll take a short there. Use 105 as the stop, just to see if it gets a bit of a bleed today. My gold is just kind of continuing to fart around, so this might be one that I just kind of hold up like very, very slightly on it. So probably just one that I'll hold into, leave the stop in place, leave the target in place, see what happens on the close.
Boom. Well, Shaq, that's why you don't run away. from the lawyers. Seems like. Wow. Holy moly. Do these guys get paid so much to be on TV? Michael, this is ridiculous. This guy's getting paid 15 million to stay on TNT? The hell?
Is the CEO listening? Like, we're on TV, kind of. Let's
15 mil?
I'll take 2. I'll take 2 million. How about that? Not that greedy.
The crazy part is like, okay, like maybe if like, you know, these guys actually gave like incredible insights into the NBA, but they don't. They really don't, man. They're just entertainers. That's why they have Shaq and they have Barkley, right? They're just entertainers. They're really not the experts there. Man. And then Shaq all the time, he's on there and he's just like disgrunted and like not even paying attention. Still paying him 15 million though. That's why he said, okay, yeah, I'll give you 1.8 million FTX to go away. Because I just got paid 15. S-bet down. Interesting, for sure. Man, the queue's going higher here, but it only run by a few names, it seems like. Yeah, this AVGO, man, just holding up the market. Up 3% on the day for a $200 stock. It's doing pretty well. Tesla's back into that range there. Hanging out, man. This is as a day that I'm about to just kind of pull the shows off the rails. Not seeing much out there, guys.
Yeah, and if I had internet and power, this would be the time I'd say, hey, we should load up like Call of Duty or something, because you
right.
You need to intentionally keep your hands kind of off the steering wheel for a while. We haven't moved too much in the last almost half hour.
Well, that Boeing news is a little bit turned for the worse. It appears there is no survivors in the plane crash. At least being told to the police commissioner or by the police commissioner. So not what you want to hear on that end. That wasn't what we were hearing this morning. So that could cause the further downside. We'll see what happens on Boeing. Yeah. That's not what you want to hear, especially.
Yeah, that's right. So grind ups, the reason grind ups are hard to trade is because you either own stuff and you've got like a trailing stop on it and it's grinding up with you, or you don't, and you can't really chase a grind up because generally it's, you know, when you have these slow grind ups, the corrections are fast and they're furious, and it becomes very kind of hard to trade. So if you're in a grind up, you want to kind of hold on the best you can, but until then, you're just waiting.
That is definitely something interesting. The plane is powered by 2, of course, GE aerospace engines. Don't know if that would affect GE or not, but just putting that out there.
Well, yeah, you can see the crazy correction that they had in the pre-market. But kind of like Boeing, it's just been a little bit sideways since the market's open. So these ones, it might just be people are waiting in order to get some confirmation of find like exactly what happened, and then it goes from there, right? So because if it's the engines, then maybe it's GE's fault. If it's a system inside, maybe it's Boeing's fault. If it's a user error, maybe none of them. So that's why I think you're getting this really choppy action in both of them.
Nothing wants to move for me. At least nothing I want to trade right here. And this is very odd for me to even say that, right? Like you guys usually are like hearing me all over these trades. It's just there's not much I want to take right now. Sucks because I want to trade. All right, well, guys, go sign up for the competition because I hope this doesn't happen. Because on a day like today, I don't know what we're going to be doing. It's going to be a little bit tougher to trade like that, but let's keep it going. Let's see what else happens out there on the day, guys. Looking around out
I have
there.
faith in us. I think we're gonna do a good job monitoring the kids. I think is probably going to be the best way to do it. We'll keep an eye on everyone. I'm super excited for this. I think it's going to be insane, but probably insane in a fun way, right? This is going to be very important to make sure that we don't take this one too seriously because you have many hands trading $1 million account. We know that more likely than not something's going to go hilariously wrong.
All right, long NNE, guys. This is going to be the last trade of the day, guys. I'm just going to give it the chance here. The 33 break. I've talked about it for how long, right? Finally went to 32.90s there. Could have got 32.90s. It just jumped to like 32.98. So I'm in that 32.98. Going to risk off like 32.70s here and look to see if this can start to take off. If not, going to get out on the NNE. We'll see what happens. But did want to go ahead and take a moment here. I'll show you guys the trade here. You guys can also see the price action there on the bottom left. So that recovery, right, would like to see really like 32.80s kind of hold on pullbacks, not break the 75 here and really start to push off this 33, maybe go to 34s in like a quick fashion. That's what I would like to see. Of course, I'd sell out maybe half of that there. Got about 200 shares, looking for this just to lift off of this. Yesterday, I made 2 great trades on NNE, so I'm just going to keep it simple and look to make another good one. All right, we'll see what happens here. Of course, I did want to tell you guys about competition, right? Competition, guys, coming at you guys real soon. I hope that you guys are joining in and have already joined. In the description below, definitely go ahead and click that link if you haven't gotten a part of the competition. But definitely take a look, guys. The one team, one account, right? One for all. A trading competition's happening, guys. June 16th to the 18th. Stream right here on YouTube, of course. All the trading on one shared account. $1 million. Yes, you got that right, guys. Our goal is to beat the Qs there. I hope you guys join us on this competition. All the discussion and ideas and strategy talk will happen in our Discord, so join the Discord today. You don't want to miss out. We're giving away 20 evaluation accounts, including everyone who participates gets some of the prize. Get after it, team. We go live every day here at 9 a.m. right on the live stream, right here on the YouTube side of things. So I want to see you guys there in the one team, one account. Who's going to take it all? Hopefully our team. We'll see what happens out there, guys. And we'll see what we're able to do here. NNE starting to go in my direction, but really not taking off. Would like to see SMR kind of lead the boat, right? This is a relationship style trade. This is why I tell you guys that sometimes you can trade names side by side, right? Like literally side by side. SMR is doing this, and then E is doing this, right? They're both kind of trading similar. They're getting to that bullish trend now. Now does SMR take off the VWAP, and does NNE take off the VWAP? Just very different styles, but kind of moving together. Q is still looking toppy, still not wanting to break above, still slowing down at times. So that's just something to keep in mind, right? Today might not be the day to make big risk. So that's why I've been trying to keep things pretty tight on the day. I have made a really good trade out the gates here with RCAT. And with that, I've used cushion on the day. And I'm going to probably set this to where if I lose, I'm break even on the day. And if I win, I'll at least be deeper into the green, right? And be able to call the day. That's what I'm going to go off of. 32.80s is my risk there. $36. I'm up 35.50s because I did take like 2 losses after that RCAT, but I'm okay with that. That's a really nice setup. I'm getting myself a shot to have a nice win on the day and then call it quits after that. Not a bad day today. Grail is one that I will be a little upset that I got stopped out in. but sometimes it's going to happen on the swing, guys. Just got to keep on swinging.
Someone mentioning
Marquette still
UNH
holds.
there, right?
Yeah.
UNH, the daily chart is looking pretty nice here, breaking that 415.
Guys, I mean, I've been looking for this, and like I told you, once it goes above here, above the 310s, goes into breaks towards, let's say, the 340s, by that time, everyone's going to wish they had 300. So that's why I said closer to 310s, risk off 300s. Made sense on the swing for me. It's up there now towards 314. You opened up, you undercut that 310, you undercut it, you rally off of that level. Now you can use that level to look at. I mean, hey, this looks good. This looks good, guys. I think UNH starts to really turn things around here. Looking good. Hey, maybe if I get a pullback late in the day, but this is looking really good on that takeoff back to 315.
And yeah, I'm still in Lily. This is a long-term move, right? I've taken some off the table in Lily, and the game plan now is just to hold it until there's some kind of really dramatic trend trade. This isn't a short-term swing for me at all. This is a big one. I want to see this thing at like 1,200 or something like that, right? So it was one of those. I was risking $25 a share to make double my money, right? So it's one of those. I've locked in enough profit now that if it comes back out and stops me out, it was still an amazing trade. So it's one of those. Tuck it away. Wake up in 6 months, see if we've broken all-time highs yet.
Yeah, I got you, Ali. I think you're asking for the link there. I got you. Just 2 seconds here. It's in our description, but I'll grab it for you. There we go. Here you go, traders. Boom. Also, I'll just do this right here. We'll see it right at the top. Dun dun dun. There it is. There you guys see the link. Just click that. Join the competition, guys. That's starting on Monday. Let's go NNE. I know I'm not the only one that bought that 98 break. I saw so many shares fly through there. 5,000 shares at 32.98, 32.98, 3,000, 32.98, 5,000, 32.98, 2,000, and definitely not even filling in the whole order there. So I think that you saw some buyers really step up on that recent move. Let's see if this really starts to take off here. SMR, of course, taking off is a good sign. There's the move above 42s. Now we'll look for CEG to lead the action through 300. Look at the rise in this bad boy. That should tell me GEV coming back. NRG is another way to maybe ride the momentum back up in nuclear, but definitely seeing these nuclear names make a nice little move right back up. URA doing really well today. Uranium names pushing well. So at that trade overall, the nuclear trade, still working out there.
Bitcoin grinding its way back to positive on the day. When we started the day, it was down 2%. Right now, it's down 0.75%. We're trying to reclaim 108. There's a huge seller at 110. So if we get through 110, I think we kind of rip through all-time highs there.
Yeah, to me, that makes sense for a bigger trader to get in on the 100,000 break, trying to make the nice little 10% trade, and has been taking out some money every time it gets there. Just like very, very symmetrical. I want to make 10%. I'm going to wait for the 100K break, go for the 10% trade. It can be bigger money too, because 10%, on a bigger amount, that could be a really good amount, right?
Well, and the amount of leverage you can get
Exactly.
like 500 to 1 leverage in crypto.
Yeah,
so
that kind of thing. I think that some people try to trade crypto with like too big a profit target percentage wise. And I think that there's a lot of trading that's happening on in between that trading, right? So some people look at crypto and then they're thinking they're going to get hundreds of % returns. And I think there's a lot of trading in between there that's like 5, 10, 15%, even 20 up to 20% sometimes, where they're making it back and forth. So that's what I would be looking into crypto is a little bit more closer strategies off the range and just trading the range.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those I've been saying a long time. The more institutional involvement you get, the less the ranges are going to happen. I think that that kind of thinking is people that are addicted to, where crypto would double or triple or quadruple in a month, and I think those days are behind us. Where, a 50% move in Bitcoin now would be huge, and it'd still be a great move, right? Making 50% on your money is fantastic. I just don't think we're in the stage. I think the people that are going to want those multi 100% moves are going to be in the meme stocks and that kind of stuff. But just speaking on crypto, we have Ethereum almost, right. Bitcoin's still down about 0.75%, and Ethereum's about to go green. So some good relative strength. We've been seeing that a little bit lately, where Ethereum broke out of a nice base yesterday, and yeah, it's looking really strong here. So could be maybe altcoin season on the way. Finally, something to definitely take a look at.
Yeah, I'd be looking for Ethereum to outperform here and look for that kind of action. We'll see. Looks interesting off a swing on the 70s. MSTR also getting a good day back. I think that's one thing to watch. Qs, man. Come on. Come on. This is why I want to go almost break even and just call it quits there today, guys, because it just seems like it's that type of day, guys, when nothing wants to run. Maybe we get this bigger run in the afternoon, but something tells me that we're just waiting on a candle from the Qs, and I want to be a little protected here. Just not feeling it today. And when you not feel it, you can be a little tight and just let it go. So ticking time bomb on this NNE trade should be already rocketing into the move. It's tightened down the spread at least here, so I'm just going to go break even and let the trade go. So no matter what, guys, I will still have a trade into the green. So smash the like on that, guys. I'm up 35. I just put break even on this NNE to just make sure we end the day in green and we just move forward. Some days are not going to be always the biggest green days, and some days it's about what? It's just about moving on to the next, right? So as this starts to lift off, I'll let it try to lift off. If it just breaks out to 3080s, I'll just trail the stop, make some more money, and call it a day. We'll see what happens out there, traders. Not going to push too much on a day where I'm just not seeing it. Boeing still fading off of that 204 break. Of course, it's not really a big fade. It's just been kind of just trending on this VWAP. It could make another break back down, so just keep your eyes on that. But just trying to keep it going here. Then we'll probably call it quits in a second here. Not much happening. All right, guys. Any wrap up from you, Michael, before we get out of here?
No, I think you summarized it well. We say it all the time. There's times to swing for the fences. There's times not to, right? With me not having the market not moving, and B, not having any power in my house makes me want to not go big on anything, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just the way it works, right? Technology is fickle. The one thing I am watching is this Boeing. If it does break and clear under VWAP, I'll take a little bit of shot there short, using that 205 as my stop. Still short gold and just kind of waiting for something to happen out there. It feels like we're in that wait and see mode.
This one's not a bad setup. Rigetti. I'm like going through my whole watch list here, and you guys are seeing it. Rigetti's still not. At least it's being constructive, right? Like there's a lot of trades today that weren't being constructive. So that's the one thing I would say. So that looks a little bit better. Finally, a little lift off here in NNE. Hopefully it can continue pushing through the 30-40s and get through that. Then we start to really look a lot better. But yeah, Rigetti's not looking too bad. So maybe some quantum names able to hang in there today. So just keep going through some of the lists today. But yeah, some of the quantum names still holding back there. RCAT, not a bad day in RCAT, that's for sure. Archer's still trying to recover 12, but for some reason there's so many wicks there. I don't know. This still seems a little trappy. We'll see what happens on some other names. Pretty much some pullbacks around there. CEG almost at 300. That thing's just been a monster. All right, guys. See a little move there in NNE, but it doesn't hold either, right? So it starts to lift and it starts to reject. That's the kind of things that I'm a little bit concerned about. You're not just getting that complete rip-off candle like you were kind of getting it yesterday, where you got this just lift off, and then when it would pull back into the support, lift off. Right now, it's just got a nice little push. Needs to do another lift off. So with that being said, could even just take the money and run right here and just call it a day, right? I think there's some times where that makes sense. So I'm just probably going to trail the stop loss in a second if it could break the 33.30s, move it up, secure a little bit of some winnings, and just trail it.
Well, yeah, and reserve mental capital, right? The worst thing I think someone can do is really burn themselves out in either a slow grind or a choppy market like this. And then maybe tomorrow is an amazing market, but you've kind of used up all your energy today where, if you went outside and walked the dogs and got away from the screens and then refresh your brain. And then tomorrow, if it's a better day for trades, then you're refreshed and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And there you guys have it. Already a pullback there, right? It's just not the big breakout that I'm looking for, right? It could even undercut here and then hold the 9, right? And then keep going. But the support to the 9 in this pattern to the left is right underneath it there, the 33.10s. So we can wash that out pretty quickly there. So we'll see what happens. Going to give it a little bit of some room here to come down, but ready to go ahead and stop out of it. 33.08s. Would still give me another $20. Take my $50 and get the heck out of here. There it is. It's already coming back into that area. Just did that wick towards the 9. You guys see the wick towards the 9 now? How you're kind of hitting underneath there. Now I'm going to go ahead and just let this go in a second. And it's either going to stop me out or come right back up there through the 33.20s. There's 33.09s on the bid. Drop into 33.08s now. So looking for a 1 minute recovery, and I got about 15 seconds. You see how it recovers there? So I'm using almost the time here that I have to understand that the time is running out on this candle. So I want this to close towards the high at the end of the candle. So then I'm just risking on the low, 33.08s right now, and we'll let this either go or I get out. Simple as that, right? And that's how it goes sometimes, guys. Not a bad day overall. Going to keep battling, guys. That's it for today. Another day in the battle, another day green dough, and that's all you can ask for, right? Battling today, not much. You don't see big wins, big losses. Not taking big shots today. I think that's kind of prudent with the price action. We'll see what happens. There's NNE to 33.40s. Now I can just hit the trail stop. Let her work. Let her work, man. Trail stop on
right as we're closing up here. I just got triggered on my Boeing short, so we'll see what happens there as well. Hopefully, I'll get power back soon. If I don't have power back by Monday when we're back, I'm in real trouble. I'm just going to move into the woods at that point.
We'll see what happens. There's at least a break to 33.50s. Now stop up there to 33.23s, trailing the action, securing $48. I'm going to be up at least 70 on the day. Just let it work, right? At this point, I'm just going to let the trail work. If it just wants to keep pushing, let it work there, guys. NNE, good day today. Battled. Good trades. We'll be back like always, guys. Smash the like. We'll be back on Monday action for the competition. So definitely tune in. Get your competition account now. Now, I'm telling you, don't wait till Monday and be that guy that's asking me for the link to get in the competition and you can't. Don't be that guy. So I'll see you guys back like always, and we'll keep battling. Michael, take care of that power. Enjoy your day, my friend. It's always great to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
See you next week.
Boom. Go Boeing.